Yo, what up, everybody? Boy JC, Everyday Thoughts is in the building. Everybody gather around. Hope everybody's having a good and blessed day. So today's topic is dating up, and special guest me tonight or today, Miss Shay is going to join me again. We've done a few videos in the past, so it should be a good one. What's going on, Lola? Hey, what's going on?
Hey,
Hey, what's going on? How you doing today?
I am good. I'm trying to figure out why my earphone. I'm not echoing, right?
No, you're good.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out why my earphone didn't pick it up. I was in the middle of trying to eat my lunch really fast.
All
But
right.
it's I was trying to eat some curry goat and rice, but it's okay.
All right. So what we're gonna talk about is dating up. You made a post. I think it was a week ago. And,
No, that was Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay. So
That
let
was
everybody know like what do you
Tuesday.
mean by that?
Oh God. Say it again.
What do you mean by that? Tell everybody what you meant about that. I said let everybody know what you meant behind your
Oh,
post.
okay. So,
And how we're in condition to date up.
oh God. I think I ruffled a few feathers with that one. So basically, I made a post off of my experience growing up as a girl, and then some of the stuff that I see on Facebook. Of course, a lot of the posts that I make are not necessarily my own personal opinion. This one kind of was my experience. Hold on one second. This one was from my experience, but it was basically about women being taught to date up. And so so basically made a post that, little girls are a lot of times we are taught to date up. Our fathers, our uncles, our grandparents may not necessarily make the actual statement that you need to date someone who makes more money than you, but a lot of the stuff that they say will allude to that thought process. Um, the movies that we watch growing up, the shows that we watch growing up also support that thought that you're supposed to date someone who is better than you. The guy that you date, for heterosexual couples, the guy that you date has to be able to take care of you. And growing up, at least for me and a lot of my friends, when the term take care of was being used, it wasn't really for anything other than financial, right? So he needs to be able to take care of you, he needs to be able to provide. It's not until you get older, probably in your 20s, hopefully, that you start to realize that providing isn't only monetary value. Providing can be emotional, spiritual, just providing support or anything that you want to do or whatever. So that was basically where my post came from. And I got a lot of inboxes about it because, guys were saying that that's not true. We're not upset, blah, blah, blah. But then, there's memes and stuff that go around that kind of support what I was saying. So that's where it came from.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I do agree with that. But now times you do see like a lot of women taking care of the man, so the roles have been reversed. A lot of women they're making the money, they're the breadwinners, so um, you do see role reversal. But I do feel like the man's supposed to provide. But a lot of times, not a lot of brothers have that kind of money, income to be providing, or don't have that kind of mindset to provide for himself or for the family. So then the roles are kind of reversed to what a lot of women are being conditioned and being trained to look after in relationships.
I agree. I think part of that is because a lot of us have put our careers first, and we're not. I don't think my generation of women. I'm 32, so I don't think my generation of women has been bred to necessarily be homemakers. Like my generation was bred to go to school, be able to take care of yourself. You know, the word independent was thrown around all throughout my lifetime, all throughout me growing up. Um, but as I got older, I realized that there's a difference between independence and self-sufficiency. So, you know, it made it hard for me to date when I was younger. Hey, Marcel. Um, it made it harder for me to date because I always felt that he had to be doing better than me, um, in order for me to even give him a shot. Of course, aside from being attracted and all that kind of stuff, but he had to be doing better than me in order for me to even give him a shot. Um, Now, of course, I don't want to date somebody who is quote unquote broke per se, but if you're financially challenged, but you're financially challenged because you have a goal. So you're financially challenged because you're choosing to be frugal because you want to pay off this debt that you have. I'll rock with you with that. I'm not a fan of a guy not making enough money, but not having the ambition to do better for himself. I'm not a fan of that. So I'm not going to support you if that's how you are. I'm probably not going to talk to you if that's how you are. I will be your friend. I will lend you advice. But in terms of dating that type of guy, no, I'm not doing that. For a lot of the women, we have done that a lot in our 20s, and we played Miss Fixer Upper, and we took on the project, what we were called project type of dudes. We took on the guys that we felt like we wanted to help, and we saw all this potential in him and everything like that. And now we get to our 30s, like me, my friends and I, and we're like, we ain't doing that crap no more. Why? Now, if you've laid a foundation for yourself and we see you doing it, then we will give you the extra push and zhuzh that you may need um, to get there. But we're not gonna like pick you up and place you over there, which is what we used to do in our 20s. So now you have guys, some guys that I've even encountered myself, um, who are still project men but don't recognize they're project men. And we all know that, you know, people fall on hard times, and people might have to do a step back. You know, they might have been divorced and the divorce was nasty and it kind of left them, you know, financially challenged and all that kind of stuff. That is okay because you're in reset, but not if this is your pattern of behavior.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I mean, a lot of women are being asked to, build a brother up, help her, or a lot of times you embrace the struggle of. But like I said, I think a lot of women I get tired of he building somebody up, and then a lot of times he don't manifest, or a lot of time wasted, or he may build him up, he may be off to the next woman. So it's a lot of heartache that a lot of women has to deal with. So, like I said, you're a man. Out there, you're working, you're trying to learn a skill. You're going back to school. I think that's what might be your. I mean, to be, I might be there. I mean, to be your main focus because I don't think you really could take him on a woman. I don't think you can take on that kind of responsibility. So, if you was gave me responsibility before he gave him a woman. So I think that's the thing a lot of guys gotta focus on, getting themselves together mentally, emotionally, financially before they try to go out there and seek women. Or having there's a lot of guys just seeking women and don't really have much to offer her, but dick and bubble gum, to be honest with you. So it's like, really, talk about what do we really what do we really bring to the table besides that? A lot of brothers we keep getting upset, man. Oh, she wants this guy, that guy. She overlooks me, but you got to look at yourself and working within. You get yourself financially ready, your body, your mindset, and you'll have your choices, but you have to work on yourself first because thing about it is you'll get this woman and you'll end up breaking her, or she'll end up carrying you, and you don't have no kind of vision, no kind of foundation for her. So you have to always be cautious of, I'm really ready for a woman. I'm ready for the responsibility, the challenge, because it's not going to be no night and day process. It's going to take work, dedication. It's going to take sacrifice. Am I, still stuck in my ways that I'm not going to be able to, give into her and be open to her, open listen to her, and so it's a lot of stuff that you have to think about. If you're really ready to take on a relationship. You know, well, what's your take on that?
Um, I agree, and it's kind of similar to what Zabo said. Hey, Zabo. He said, I believe what happens in a person's household is their business. Keep in mind, keep in mind, some that works for others might not work for you. Like both of you said, times are changing. I agree, but I think if a woman has done that, if a woman in her past, let's say the 20s, because the 20s is when they say, you make all your mistakes, and by your 30s, you're kind of supposed to be on your way to being who you want to be or living how you want to live or anything like that. Hey, Gian.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
But I think for a lot of us women in our 30s, like I said before, we have done a lot of that in our 20s. We dated a guy who we probably didn't have a lot of major requirements for. That, if he made us feel good and he was nice and we could have a conversation with him, we probably dated him, probably married him, but we had to do a lot of like pushing for him, and he wasn't doing it himself. Like that's where the issue is coming in. So he wasn't motivated himself. He didn't have the ambition himself. So we want more for him than he wanted for himself, and that becomes exhausting. I'm not talking about the guy who we saw the potential, and he was also doing something about it. You know what I mean? He was also whatever plans he had, he was actively pursuing those things. I'm not talking about that guy. I'm also not talking about the guy where, you know, he was doing well and something happened and it fell off and he fell off and he's trying to rebuild. Those guys, cool. Do what you got to do. If everything else falls into place, um, our issue that I have observed from a lot of women, from what they have said, between the memes on Twitter and IG, Facebook, because that's where my post came from, is that now they're not doing that because they have done it time and time again before, and it has not yielded, of course, the results that they desired.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes like working stuff out. Even if the person is right. But you also gotta look at it. Because he's making money doesn't mean he's a good catcher either. You gotta look at his morals,
Right.
character. Because a lot of times, like you seen the whole DeMarcus Cousins for him making money, but he threatening his baby mama. So a lot of times, a lot of men they get the money and they get the kind of power, to them. So you just have to be cautious of you dating a man with money. And always look at the character values, his core values, and try to make sure he can publicly show you off, and then publicly in private too. He's not being disrespectful, not being hateful, not being nasty towards you. Very calm, very respectful towards you. So you have to be mindful of that too.
I agree. One of my good friends, he got upset with me, basically said that what I was saying wasn't true, because he didn't know anybody. Now he's a man now. He didn't know anybody that taught that to their daughters, or like his father didn't teach that to his sisters. And I said to him, well, how do you know that? Because you're not a guy. You're not a girl. You're a guy. So you don't know what these women, what your sister, even growing up in the same household as you, was taught in those private conversations that she's having with your dad, you don't know what was told to her. The men of his generation, which now would be like in their 60s, my dad my dad would have been 63 this year. So his same generation, all of my uncles did the same thing to me. You understand what I'm saying? So it's not like what I'm talking about, what I said was far fetched, because it's true. Growing up, you watching these Disney movie fairy tale things, a lot of these men, a lot of the Prince Charmings and the guys were in better financial positions than the women. So we grew up watching that type of stuff. That's what it is. You have women, like, hell, we could take Fresh Prince. We all watch Fresh Prince. Uncle Phil was an attorney. Aunt Viv did what? She was a homemaker, right? I think she was a
Yeah.
housewife. Family Matters. Carl was a police officer, and Harriet worked from home, or she was a housewife as well. So in a lot of the family dynamics that we saw, the men were in better financial situations than the women. Those women didn't necessarily have an income or whatever. But so I was just trying to say that's all my post was saying, and apparently I got some people ruffled, their feathers were ruffled a little bit by it.
Yeah, but I mean, but nowadays you do see a lot of women that's out there working. They want to do for themselves, and just because they was, quote unquote, the housewife doesn't mean they wasn't serving to a man. It wasn't being disrespected. It wasn't being mistreated by a man. You said a lot of times, even back in the older days, the guy they'll go out there and cheat, they'll go out there and hit women, but as long as they provided for everything was all
Right.
good. So you have to be cautious that that's the type of lifestyle you truly want. But yeah, did you get a guy that really don't want to go out there and work, pay all the bill? He's still understanding that y'all are a team. It's a balance. It's a give and take. It's not a like a dictatorship. Oh, okay, I'm paying all the bills, so you do everything. It's more like okay, I may pay all the bills, but I'm still gonna help you out with laundry, kid. I'm still gonna help you around the household. Still going on a trip. You're still gonna go to the park. So you still have to balance each other out, even if you are, the financial maker. How you guys balancing each other out is what you got to ask yourself.
I agree. I think for us, and it's probably because of the feminist movement, that a lot of those behaviors don't really exist now, because a lot of women who are stay-at-home moms, they still do something for themselves. So they may stay at home, but they may work from home. And it could be because they need the income, that household may need the income, or it could be because that woman just wants to have her own income. Doesn't necessarily want themselves a piece of clothing that a lot of the women that I know that are stay-at-home moms, they still provide some kind of income in some way, shape, or form. So I personally don't know any traditional stay-at-home moms who stay at home. I don't think so. I'm thinking off the top of my head, who stay at home and don't have an income. Like, I have friends who, they worked for Herbalife. You can pretty much do that anywhere. They just stayed at home with the kids, while they were young. And still staying at home now, but they're still, like I said, they're still bringing in income. So it definitely depends on what you want to do in your marriage, your partnership, or whatever. It's raining. Um, the traditional household from back in the 50s and 60s, that I don't see a lot of that existing today.
Yeah, but like I said, it's all coming down to your core values. You want to be the one that want to be homemaker, be in the household. You want to be the one that works. You got to find someone to balance you out. That's all it is. That's what it's all about. Trying to connect with people, trying to get to know each other, and try to see what works for you. Some men don't really want the woman out there working and working long hours, etc. Some men don't mind. Some men don't mind going 50-50. So it all depends on the type of guy you're dealing with, and how does it exist for y'all relationship? How does it work out for y'all relationship? Not just not just for each other's gain. It's all about how can y'all work itself as a couple. You know, 'cause even there's some stay at home dads and
I
the
agree, and
woman
I
out
think
there
those
works,
those are
pay all the
conversations.
bills, and so so yeah, like everybody's situation is different. Like you gotta find some people that share the same core values as you. You know.
Hmm. So yeah, that's I think though sometimes because women don't want to be, they don't want to come off as gold diggers. I hate that term, but they don't want to come off as gold diggers. So there's certain conversations that they kind of stray away from because they don't want to seem as if they're just looking for like a financial come up. But at the end of the day, a woman, most women, I can't speak for everybody, but most women, a lot of women, the women that I observe and the women that I know, they want some type of security. As we have gotten older, we realize that security comes in different forms. It's not just financial. So you may make more, I could make more than my spouse, my future spouse, but he may provide other things for me that me making more is okay with me, but also okay with him. Because some men are not okay with you making more than them. And that's where some of some of the issues come in. But like for me, I always said if I'm making 70,000, let me just throw a number. If I'm making 70,000 a year and I'm a hairstylist, that's what I do. And I'm a hairstylist, but you are a teacher. The average teacher in South Florida makes what, 35, 40, I think. But you love your job. You love what you're doing. I will rock with you. You wanna know why? Because you enjoy and you're following your passion. But if you're making 35,000 a year and you're complaining every day about making that and complaining every day about what you're doing, but then you're not doing something to do better, I have a problem with that. Because you're choosing to, if there's no, criminal, your criminal past, if criminal past is not a problem, um, essentially you're choosing to do that thing that you're not happy with. And that's where I have a problem with because a lot of the times you have the ability to change that to do something else.
Yeah. I mean, I just feel like if a man's getting mad or sad about his woman making more, that's just his own insecurities. Because I feel like a man who knows that his wife or his girlfriend, whoever he's with, making more than that's something that she's blessed with, and he has to, ask himself like, what can I do to match her, or what do I feel inside of me that I don't feel like I'm providing for her? Because providing is more than just financially, it's emotionally, it's mental support too, and like I said, that should be helping you out. If she's making her own money, then it's like, damn, what else can I do to help, match her, and vice versa for the woman, for the man too. Like, nobody should feel inferior to each other. That's supposed to be, a couple that's supposed to be connected to one another. So, there's no like, oh, I'm making more, so I'm better than you. No, you're not better than me. It's just, you just make more. That's just how it is, But it doesn't mean that doesn't define you or define me. That's just what it is at this moment.
I mean, yeah, but there's just a lot of guys who don't like the fact that they're, and I don't think it's an insecurity. That's just how some men have been raised, that they're supposed to bring home the bacon, right? They're supposed to be the breadwinners. They're supposed to be able to take care of that. If something happens to the wife, let's say she gets pregnant and she gets pregnant, she got to go to maternity leave. He can he can safely and easily handle everything that comes along with that on his own. Like there are just some men who are bred that way, and that's okay. But then there are also men who just are not. They're just, some of it is insecurity because based on their own experiences, women will sometimes throw the fact that they make more money in their faces, and some men have that experience.
Yeah, I mean, I
So
don't feel like you're a woman. I mean, I don't feel like you're a woman. You should be, right? Oh, I make more money can I do. So that I will, get to a man. But like I said, you just have to be cautious of, just be cautious of, you making more like other like what other ways can I help when we help each other out. That's basically what it comes down to. You know, having similar core values and what are we trying to build together, or we just you know, just playing around. You know, you also got to figure out what y'all ultimately trying to do at the end of the day.
Yep, I agree.
All right, let's read some of these comments. Ms. Robinson said, I have to agree with you about my generation. I'm 52 and above. But the sad thing is, I'm seeing with men my age and young, my age and younger is the lack of drive and integrity.
With her, and she's in her 50s. So she's seeing, I can't, I mean, that's 20, that's literally 20 years above my age. So I can't speak on that one because I don't know. I don't, yeah, I'm not in that realm. So I don't know about that just from my experience because I'm not conversing or nor talking nor dating that age of men.
She also says it goes both ways, having damaged, broken people. If no one is wanting to have to rebuild or help a person heal, potential doesn't pay any bills or keep a roof overhead. Yeah, that's true.
It's just like they say, love don't pay the bills. So
Yeah, I have all the love in the world, but somebody want to go out there and work and make it happen because they ain't you gonna pay the bills off love, you know.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's that. That was what my little post was about. They caused a big old ruckus. My bad.
Well, let me read a few more of these comments real quick. If I see potential, I might see it through, but this is not build a do workshop. You gotta come with some parts already in place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically that goes with that's what Lakeisha that goes with what I said earlier is that you gotta have a foundation. So if you have a foundation, most women are willing to build with you because they like we enjoy that part of seeing the growth. But I also know that there are some guys who just want to reach there, wherever there is, they want to reach there before they bring a woman in because, you know, divorce can be brutal and they want to reach the capacity or they want to get to this spot in their careers, their lives, their financial plan before they bring a woman in. And that sometimes takes a long time and then they end up being 35, 40 with nobody.
I mean, like I said, I mean, there's nothing wrong with you trying to focus on yourself. It may take 2 to 3 years before you feel like you're at that stage before you can, go out there and find a woman. But I think the problem is that we're just looking for women. We don't really have no kind of foundation, no kind of plan. So that's the issue I have. But there's something you just gotta work on.
Yeah,
But
that's it.
yeah. All right, Joe said black men with money do not want a black woman on their arm. There are too many black men bashing black women. Now, black women like Eve, Rihanna, Mariah Carey, and Janet Jackson have to date outside their race to find financial, emotional, and spiritual support. That's interesting.
Wait. Okay, because my phone froze. So read that comment again. It was that black men don't want to date black women. Was that what that was?
No, she said black men with money do not want a black woman on their arm. There are too many black men bashing black women. Now, black women uh, have to date outside their race to find financial, emotional, and spiritual support.
I think that's a huge generalization.
Yeah, that's a generalization because there are a lot of black men
That is a huge
that
generalization
do
because
that do like black women.
the majority of black men that I know, or even on my social media platforms, they love them a black woman. They refuse to date outside of their race. They won't even smash somebody who is non-black. So
Yeah, you said smart.
Yeah, no, I mean, if they're speaking the truth, I know a lot of black men who have only ever dealt with black women and they refuse to go to any other race. They don't give a damn. They don't care if they broke. They don't care how attractive they may be to another race. They don't care. They're not going to date or deal with, talk to women who are not black. I think that's a huge generalization. Um, I the media will lead you to believe that because in the media, it looks like a lot of these how powered black men are dating non-black women. And I don't believe that to be the case. I know a lot of black men, or I have seen a lot of black men, don't ask me what their names are, high power, because I don't pay attention to them, but who have black women on their arms. So I kind of disagree with that.
Yeah, you have, guys like Devon, you have
And
guys like
the second part of her statement was that black women have to go outside of their race to go and find the emotional, financial, spiritual support. I disagree with that as well because I'll be damned. I ain't dating outside my race. I'm attracted to other races for sure, but for me to say that I'm going to go and date a non-black man or no. And for the majority of my friends, majority of the women that I know, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I've never dated outside my race, but I've only been with black women, so I don't judge other people. Just don't bring down black women if you dislike them. Or try to put white women above them because I don't agree with that. But
Yeah,
like I said, you
yeah,
want to date, you choose to date whoever, whether you want to date homosexually, man to man, or outside your race. Just don't try to bash women, black women in the process. That's all
I agree.
I say.
Any other comments? I can't see the comments. They're not loading for me. So, is there anything else?
Evans says, I believe that what happens in a person's household is their business, keeping some that works for where might not work for all. Like both of you said, times are changing. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
whatever
J-Bo,
works.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Lakeisha said, I make my own. Thank, thank God. But when I decided that, then when one to be kept, damn, I'm the other half better be able to keep me. Yeah.
I mean, my
And then
own
like
coin.
I had a post a while back, and I said that black women are waiting for black men to provide. A lot of women will be homeless. So that was funny.
Wait, say that again. I think I saw that post, but I don't think
Yeah,
I
I
paid
think it
attention
was
to it.
funny.
Say
I
it again.
like if black women waited for black men to provide for them, a lot of black women would be homeless.
Correct.
I think it was funny.
We'd be screwed.
Yeah.
We would be screwed, and
Not cause I look at it like it's a damn if you do, damn if you damn.
that is such a poor representation of the black man though, because I do kind of
Oh, like
feel like
it
that
is.
is
I was just like, 'cause a lot of guys we talk about, oh, we want me to be providers and stuff. We don't want her to work, but it's like, how many dudes actually have that mindset? Well, I want to take care of her or her family. A lot of dudes talking about 50-50, and then a lot of times not even really 50-50. It's more like 80-20 or her part, So it's like it doesn't make too much sense.
there's nothing wrong with 50-50 though. That's the
And
thing.
there's nothing
Like
wrong with
do
it.
what works. Do what works with it. 100. Y'all decide what y'all want to do within your household. So if splitting the bills down the middle is what is financially sufficient for that household, then do what you got to do. If she makes more money and she takes on, just like if it was reversed, if she makes more money and she takes on the bigger bills and he makes less money and he takes on the smaller bills, then go for it. Or do what a lot of people do, have you a house account, both of y'all put your money in there, that way you don't know who's paying what and doing whatever. That's it. I think a lot of people make it a whole lot worse than what it needs to be, and then it ends up being this big old argument about black men not wanting to fully provide and all this kind of other foolishness. Women just want to be taken care of. That what their definition of taking care of is is subjective to them. The average woman don't want no broke dude. So that's like baseline. She don't want a broke guy. She want to know that if we want to go out, not saying that she got, that she got to go to Ruth Chris for dinner every time, but that we can either choose to go to Chili's 2 for $20, or we can go hit up whatever other restaurant we decide that we want to hit up.
Go to the beach. Go get a couple massages.
And there's yeah, do whatever. Like a lot of women my age that I know personally and that I have seen on like I said, my social media platforms, we just like the effort. So even if you are financially challenged for whatever reason, but if you don't think like you're broke, then you're good. Not saying that you're living above your means, but you can think of if you're dating, you can think of awesome and inexpensive dates to do that don't cost a lot of money. Because eating out eventually costs a lot of money. That's at least a lot of the times that's $40, $50, $60, $70. When y'all could have, hey, you can have an interactive. You could take me to David and not grand old time. I like arcades and I like video like that. I like shooting the go-karts. It has the rope thing up top. It has all of that kind of stuff. You can do live music. You can go and listen to live music where, you're still spending time with each other, but the cover charge could be $10. It doesn't have to be some white tabletop restaurant all the time or something that's hella expensive. I think a lot of the times men feel that's what we want when the woman is saying that's not what she needs all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you can also look on Groupon or other ways as far as just trying to find something that I like to do, and that's why it's important to know each other's interests, likes. Like I said, you like going and dancing or ballet. Try to do something different that I'm most like to do, or try to look her look, try to see what her needs or her looks are. Get a massage, get your feet done. Just stuff that she may enjoy. Be open to it, and don't think you less with a man. You trying to do some stuff that that suits her. Just be comfortable within your masculinity.
A lot of us are really simple. A lot of us women are really simple.
Yeah.
To be honest, like a lot of us are really simple, man, and all of you have women who are high maintenance, that term or whatever, but if she's accustomed to doing something, then she's going to be accustomed to doing something for herself. And if you can't provide that thing for her, then I think a lot of men will call her high maintenance. No. This is just what she grew up having. So if she grew up living a middle-class lifestyle and she's accustomed to doing a certain thing, more than likely she may desire a guy who can at least do what she can do for herself for her. You know what I mean? But some women could even still be living that middle-class lifestyle or even upper-class lifestyle and be okay with dating someone who is below her tax bracket. There's nothing wrong with that either. It just depends on the woman.
Yeah, like I said, it all depends on the two people, what you're gonna allow, what you're not gonna allow, and make sure it works out for in both cases. That's all.
Yep, that's it.
But yeah,
that's all of that boys done.
You got anything else to say?
Nah, I think I said everything.
All right. But yeah, though, I appreciate you joining me today. And until next time, you have a blessed one.
All right, you too. Holla.
All right.